Well, here we are. It's the beginning of day 9 of Hope 2020. This is the longest hacker convention ever. And we're not saying that out of weirdness. We're saying that out of a sense of accomplishment. This is pretty damn awesome, and we're so happy everybody is there with us. Right now, we're going to be doing something really special. I want to introduce a good friend of ours, Cameron Glass, musician. In fact, you all know him. You may not know you know him, but this is a guy who has composed the music and played the music that you have been hearing between talks ever since the very beginning. Cameron, I just want to say thank you on behalf of everybody for giving us such a pleasant interlude between presentations.
Oh man, thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to finally share the stuff I've been working on for the last couple of years. This conference definitely exceeded all expectations, I think, at least on my end.
Well, you've been in the hacker world for a while now. In fact, we met you at a maker fair, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
How did you get involved?
You know, I'm not sure exactly where I started. I think I started sometime in middle school, just looking around the internet like everybody else. And I think it was one day when I was in Barnes and Nobles and I saw 2600 that I felt like there was actually this community that I could tap into. So I started going to the monthly meetings, the NYC 2600 meetings, and I ended up making a lot of good friends, and I've been hanging out with them ever since.
Wow. And this is, how many Hopes have you been to now?
I think this is my third one, so year 6.
Would you say you've seen more or less talks than previous Hopes?
I think I've definitely seen more this time, just because it's the main event, you know?
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've actually gotten to see talks, still running around like crazy, but I'm running around on my keyboard instead of running around from room to room. So I have a chance to actually have something playing in the background. And I gotta say, wow, have we always been this good? I mean, it's really riveting, amazing, diverse, so educational. And of course, all the talks are archived. So you haven't missed anything if you didn't see every single talk. But wow, yeah, I'm completely blown away by the whole thing.
Yeah, it's amazing given our current circumstance how well this turned out. And just great job to all the volunteers who did this so quickly, and the presenters and musicians and all that.
Absolutely. Big thanks to everybody who's been involved and participated and attended.
So Cameron, let's talk a little bit about your musical history. How old were you when you first picked up an instrument, and what instrument was that?
Well, I gotta give credit to my mom where it's due. She did start dragging me to piano lessons when I was around 5, and at the time I wasn't so into it. It kind of felt like a chore, but then later in high school, when I started getting into like different kinds of rock music and I wanted to learn how to play bass, all of that music theory knowledge that I didn't know I had kind of came to the forefront and helped me out. So definitely it all started with piano and helped me ever since.
Wow, amazing. And have you mastered any other instruments since then?
Definitely haven't mastered any instruments, but I have
Good answer.
Yeah, I have gotten okay at bass, and I've been since I joined this band a year or two ago, I've been getting pretty good at this certain synthesizer I'm using. It's a Korg MS-2000R, I think, and it's just really fun to play with.
Wow. Have you used that for any of the music you've played for Hope?
Well, the piece you're about to see will have a little bit of it, yeah. And the Worlds of If song that's on the Hope soundtrack also has that. So.
Okay. Tell us about that Hope soundtrack, because we were announcing it before, and I understand people are really interested in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting to make one, but since so many people have enjoyed the music, which was much to my delight, I decided I'd put it all on Bandcamp. So you can now find all the songs that are being used in between talks. I believe it's cameronglass.bandcamp.com, and it's just the first thing that shows up. So yeah, it's pretty awesome how many people have been checking out the Bandcamp in the last week or so.
Yeah, Cameron, you should know this. There are people who actually stay up through the night to wait for us to switch the music to the next day's music, so they can be the first to hear it. Yeah, it's amazing. I watch the comments, and people are really into it.
And anticipating it.
Yeah, but there was one day where we had a couple of people who were a little perturbed, and that was Monday, because that was the piece that, the piece that gets faster and faster and faster.
Oh, yeah.
And some people, I guess, on a Monday morning felt that was a bit much.
Yeah,
I think it was perfect.
Yeah, for me, it worked.
Yeah, some of the songs are a bit short, so when they are looped, I can see how it can get a little irritating. But yeah, I mean, if you want to check out other songs that haven't been played yet, or you want to see an old song that you couldn't find out what it was, it's all on the Bandcamp. So
awesome. So now this spring was your senior year of high school, right?
Apparently, man. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy was it to have COVID-19 just suddenly hit and basically rob you of the second half of your senior year?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. At first, it felt a little bit like relief, because it was like, man, I'm so glad I don't have to go to school every day. But then it was, I think, about a month or two after we started lockdown, it was the realization came that like we couldn't hang out, we couldn't do anything fun. And so, yeah, it definitely felt like we got robbed in some sense, but I think we're all going to have a big party next year to make up for it or something.
What are your plans for the fall?
Just to prepare myself mentally for college, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Is that going to be virtual or in person?
Yeah, the first year is going to be mostly online classes, which for some people that's a big bummer, just because a lot of colleges aren't really clear if they're lowering their tuitions or anything. So people feel like they don't want to pay the same tuition to take online classes, which is an understandable worry. So there is a bit of a college frenzy going on right now.
Wow. Well, I wish you all the best with that.
Thanks.
Now, In a Box is the composition we're about to see. Now, we haven't talked about this, but I imagine In a Box means it's about being cooped up in an apartment for several months. Is that right?
Yeah, you could say that. I think it's like a double entendre, because I'm in a box, right here's a box, but I'm also in your computer screen right now. So there's two boxes I'm in.
At least, yeah, I'm sure.
At least, I'm sure I could count. I mean, I'm wearing boxers. I like to box.
Uh-huh.
I like boxes.
Well, now, have you been stuck inside since April? Have you been able to go outside, or how's your life?
I've been able to go outside, safely, just to get like pizza or something, but I definitely haven't been hanging out outside.
So how are you staying sane?
It's a good question, man. Every day I wonder if I'm still sane, but I'm just managing with, Zoom calls are nice to talk to friends, and I've still been able to make music with my band just by sending files back and forth. So I'm still having some socialization. And
projects, working on things, collaborating.
Oh yeah, you gotta let your brain grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great way to spend time.
Tell us about your band, Worlds of If.
Yeah, so this is a band I started playing with, I think, a year or two ago. I met the drummer randomly outside on St. Mark's Place, which was a really cool sort of New York City experience.
This was the guy that was in Bark Market, right?
Yeah, he was a drummer. He used to be in Bark Market, and he's still doing awesome drum stuff. And I just got a great opportunity to start playing with these two guys, and I've been playing with them ever since.
That's awesome. Wow. Okay, well, we're going to cut to In a Box by Cameron Glass. We'll come back afterwards. We'll take your Q&A in the Matrix chat room. And here it is, Cameron Glass, In a Box. Wow. That was In a Box by Cameron Glass. And Cameron, that was incredible. And how long did it take you to put that together?
Thanks, man. I wouldn't say it took too long. It was kind of an organic thing, so I would come back to it every other day or something and just add another piece to it. But I'd say it probably took maybe a week.
See, when we talked about this, about you doing some pieces for the conference, I figured you'd just be pretty much standing, over a keyboard and playing music, which would be great. But the visualization, that was something extra. I really wasn't expecting.
Well, thanks, man. I didn't want to send in just a pre-recording of me playing something. I thought that was a little lame, but I did want to do some kind of mashup of all the different stuff I try to make. So,
yeah, we love the effort with the graphics and visuals as well, and
thanks,
just
man.
the 90s kind of vaporwave video. It's hilarious. I love what you did with it, and all those effects over your imagery. Just really impressive stuff. We loved seeing it. So glad you added that part.
Was there anything that inspired this piece?
I'd say it was partially inspired by what I was listening to it during the conference.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in middle school, I probably listened to a lot more EDM or electronic music in general than in high school, and I think the conference kind of rejuvenated my love for like more synthesized electronic music.
Yeah.
Our mission is complete then. I mean, that's all I wanted to do.
Our
was
work
get
is
people
done.
more
Yeah.
into EDM, and it's like going to a German conference now.
Yeah.
All right then. Wow, that's awesome to hear. Have you been watching some of the other musical acts?
Yeah, I have. There's just been only good ones, which is like amazing. I really enjoyed Polly in Frames, and DJ Spock's set was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite was the Radio Wonderland performance by Joshua Freed. He has just such a unique and cool setup, something I've never seen before. And it's just clear that he's gotten so good with his setup that it's like part of his musical ability. It's really awesome.
Yeah, if you've never seen this, we highly recommend it. He played a few nights ago. It's on the archive. And basically what he does is he's in New York City, and he takes a radio, and he basically tunes the radio and makes music out of whatever he hears on the radio. And if I had to ask him one question, I heard WCBS News Radio 88, which is an AM station, and then I heard 102.7 FM. So I'm just wondering, at what point did he do the switch from AM to FM? That's my only question. So
That's a good question.
That's a mystery. That
He did say he prefers FM. He does not like AM as much.
unless he was using an HD radio thing, which has that station as one
I
of
don't
the
think he did
sub-channels.
though. It was a pretty old. He was pretty particular about his boombox.
It was a boombox.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an example of just some of the interesting, unique music that we hear.
I totally appreciate that transcendental, like just that becoming one with the instrument, because he's like transcending his own creativity, like his own experimentation to just create, and it has that like spontaneous element. It like just completely it just takes you on this wild ride. It was really inspiring. We enjoyed that as well.
So people in the Q&A room, if you have questions for Cameron Glass, I'm looking at the window right now. I don't always look at the window, so if you have a question and I see it and it's a good question, maybe we'll pass it on to him. And if you type it fast too, there's a lot of things on the screen here. Let's see. People complaining about the connection here and their own memories and talking about Zoom. All right. Well, you know what? Here, you hold this for now. I've got another question for Cameron here. Do you have a process when you create music?
It's kind of something that's not so clear to me. Like, I don't really have a formula that I use to make songs. I usually I think it always starts with improvisation and just trying out different ideas, even if it's just playing with a guitar in your room by yourself. Like that, trying out different ideas is where songs start for me. And I just kind of follow the breadcrumbs to the finish line.
This you write many different types of pieces, And if you've listened this week, you've heard orchestral, you've heard just amazing electronic sounds, and you just play piano sometimes. So is there a particular style you're drawn to?
I'm not sure if there's a particular style I'm drawn to. It's more like I go through different phases of what I like. I think over high school I started venturing into the world of punk rock and heavy metal, and that definitely influenced how I make music. But at the same time, I've been exploring like genres I never would have thought I would enjoy, like funk and rap and all this other stuff. So I'm constantly trying to get a larger music taste.
And how do you do that?
Recommendations from friends are nice. Having one friend who you can talk to about music is really a nice thing in life.
Cool. The question is, who did the music? Look at your screen. It's right there.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. We're talking to Cameron Glass, who did the piece called In a Box. One person wanted to know what the visualization tool you used was.
Oh, yeah. So I had a lot of fun with the visual effects. I actually originally saw this effect used on a Death Grips music video, and I thought it was like the coolest thing, like I was in the Matrix or something. So I figured out there's this app you can get called Glitch, I think is how you pronounce it. It's like glitch with an E at the end. And there's a free version. It's a little limited, but I think you can use that effect.
I see. So when I was asking, where can we see this video again? Good question. And you can see it in the archive once it's archived. So click on that, the archive button on hope.net, and it'll show up probably sometime tomorrow, maybe overnight. And you can see it there to your heart's content. And,
yeah, that's probably a good place.
Yeah. And of course, we recommend the album on Bandcamp. You want to give it that address again?
It's cameronglass.bandcamp.com. And I'll see if I can try to add the video to the Bandcamp as like an extra content or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So now, what would you say to, and I know there's a lot of young people out there who are watching and listening who are into music. What would you say to kids that want to pursue music?
The internet is your friend. I think that's my best advice. I really had no idea about music production when I was 12 years old, but I had YouTube and I knew how to download software, and really that's all I needed to teach myself how to get better at making music, and slowly but surely I was. So I guess my advice for any young musicians is don't doubt the ability of the internet to let you teach yourself things, and don't wait for information to come to you.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's also bad things the internet will teach you that are wrong. So how do you differentiate? How do you know, yeah, this is the right road to go down, this is a bad road to go down?
I don't know, man. That's more of like a moral question, but I feel like if you're looking for music production videos on YouTube, you're probably not going in a bad direction.
Are there inspirations, particular artists you're inspired by?
It's a long list. I don't know if it would be that interesting for me to just list out names, but it's definitely from many different genres. I like a lot of experimental rock and electronic music.
Uh-huh. Cool. All right. So you're stuck in your house until this thing is over. Any thoughts of the state of the world? Since we're pretty much asking everybody that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like it's hard to keep track with the plot twists. There's just too many plot twists. And all I can say is vote. Please vote. This will be the first election I can actually vote in, so that is an exciting thing, I guess, but it's also like it feels like the most important election, at least in my memory. So it's a lot of pressure on this election, and I want all my friends who are of my age who just turned 18 to please God vote.
And that was actually one of my questions. Are you going to vote in November? I suspect you are.
Yeah, don't sleep on this election.
Yeah, no, that's on the list of things to do.
And have you voted before
No, I haven't been able to.
because of your age?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I've been able to join the army for some reason.
Well, you haven't joined the army, have you?
Yeah.
No, but
Didn't
I
say
can
anything
join the
about that.
army before I can vote. So,
Here's a question from Maud. What are some of your earliest memories of music?
I'd say some of my earliest memories of music is probably just playing things for my parents that I wrote on piano when I was maybe like 6 or 7 years old. My dad writes music, and I really wanted to be like him, so I would also write little songs on piano. And I'd say that's probably my earliest memory.
Very cool. Here's another question. Is there a process to selecting a synthesizer, or is it like the synthesizer doesn't make the musician makes the synthesizer?
That's a good question. I think having something with a lot of different patches to choose from is definitely helpful, and just going through the list and seeing what sounds pique your interest. But almost always I try to customize whatever sound I select to be exactly what I want it to be.
Very cool. All right. We've been speaking with Cameron Glass and watching his piece in a box. Again, that address to get the special Hope soundtrack album from Cameron Glass.
It's CameronGlass.bandcamp.com.
Awesome. Any closing words?
Thank you all so much for sticking around and enjoying the music and making this conference what it was meant to be, which is a fun and exciting, extremely long and extremely enjoyable hacker conference.
It's the longest hacker conference in history, and I dare anybody to prove us otherwise.
It's an endurance conference.
Yes.
And we're enduring. We're going to get through this, and we're going to sleep
there's at least one attendant who's been awake the whole time.
Oh, that's not possible.
I don't think that's healthy. Yeah, that sounds like a condition.
Yeah, please go
Never
to
miss
sleep.
a minute.
So your final bit of music for day 9 will be debuting at some point on our Between Talks programming. No need to stay up throughout the night to wait for that moment. You'll hear it tomorrow between all the talks. And Cameron, I just want to thank you again. So glad to have you amongst us. And I wish you all the best for your future musical endeavors and your academic endeavors and just life in New York City.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me, and just thanks to all the volunteers once again who made this possible, and all the presenters who made this possible. It's been a really fun week for me, and what otherwise would have been a very miserable period.
I'm hearing that from a lot of people, and I want to thank everybody who came to the conference, especially all the people who presented at the conference. You've made this into a really magical period, and as Cameron said, an otherwise bleak period. I think we all really needed this. But now, some of you might need some sleep. It's okay, you can do that. Our programming resumes at 9 in the morning, Eastern Daylight Time. So until then, we're going to take you back, and you will hear some of Cameron's music all throughout the night as we play some announcements for you. It's Emmanuel and Kyle and Cameron. Good night.
Peace.